Hey, good afternoon. 4 o'clock Central here in the state of Texas. I'm excited. Our next guest is one of the leading and foremost sales experts, especially as it relates to helping women build their businesses. We're excited to talk to her next, coming up here on the Phone. Alrighty. Welcome to this pre-Christmas edition of On the Phone. I'm excited for today's guest. Today we have the lovely and talented Lynne Whitbeck. She is the founder and CEO of Petite2Queen. Basically, she's got 30 years of success and experience as vice president of development and CEO of a direct consumer technology startups. Lynne transitioned to executive consulting, providing strategic expertise for the development and management of client programs with a real-world background. Lynne brings marketing, sales, business development, and operations management, cross-sector experience to Petite2Queen. Petite2Queen, at that company, she's focused on identifying and evaluating opportunities for women at work, helping to define their personal roadmap in long, mid, and short term. She dedicates herself to delivering tangible and sustainable tools and insights to women, embracing visualization of the big picture and identifying and implementing the minutiae of the detail. Lynne's goal is to share the lessons learned along her journey and enable positive uplift for women. I think we're going to hear about a great Girl Scout story from when she was younger. I'm pretty sure about that. Right. And then lastly, she is the author and co-author of 2 books. In 2017, I think it was, she helped author Practical Wisdoms at Work, Navigating the Present with a Plan for the Future. And then in 2018, she co-authored an amazing book, which is very cool, Boss Chick's Bodacious Destiny. All right. How can you not want to pick that up after read the title? Welcome, Lynne Whitbeck. Good to have you.
Hey, well, it's so great to be back, or to be with you. I mean, we're back together.
Yeah, we had a great time. About a month or so ago, I was on your show. It was awesome. So I had a really good time. It was such a great time. I'm like, hey, you got to come and do my show. So here we are. So I'm excited to have you. We're kind of giving the broad strokes, but tell us a little bit more about your journey, because it's, a lot of people work in corporate America and then they pop out and try and start a business, but you've had a successful business now for years. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I can sum it up that B2B business owners hire me to ignite winning sales teams because most are chasing down clients. They're stuck in a chaotic sales cycle. They're lacking client retention, conversions, and profits. So I help them transform thinking to the client's perspective and sales chaos with a robust strategic plan to harvest the hidden profits. Bottom line, igniting your sales and unleashing lasting profits. And I came here full circle from that beginning of selling Girl Scout cookies and selling a product that I really believed in. And there I was out there trying to get my own cookie badge. The cookie badge that was a very special thing that you had to sell a heaping amount of cookies. And I drug my friend around who was very shy and introverted. We came up with a system and we sold enough cookies that we were the only 2 girls in our district who got that coveted cookie badge. So that was pretty exciting. And as time went on, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to go into outside sales. I was shadowed my father for the first few weeks. And then I went out and started selling. And in that first year, in the 9 months, I outsold his business partner, who had been a sales veteran for 25 years. And the next year I outsold my dad. And, as time went on, then my career progressed. I went to work for corporate America. But what was really interesting is that I discovered that my secret sauce was that coming to the event, the sales call to meet with the customer, where I reframed my mindset so I could put myself in their shoes. So I could think like the client and really get down to what mattered, what mattered to them and why it mattered and what they were going to be able to do when they achieved that. And so then I could translate, what we did, our product or service, so that it was a good fit. That was the other thing. Make sure it was a good fit so that we could deliver not only what they wanted, but what they needed.
Right.
And so that's really been a guiding principle. And I call that worthy intent, so that you come into a relationship with anyone, whether it's any other human being, but that you have a genuine curiosity and a desire to help and serve them.
Nice. I love that. You know, when we were on your show, when I was on your show, we talked about, you know, your childhood and how a lot of people, because you're successful, obviously what you do, you've got lots of women who, you know, you've helped build amazing businesses for, who have changed their lives. And I'm sure they're super grateful to you for that. But I was like, you know, I said, geez, well, what was it in your childhood that was the catalyst? And you're like, well, there really wasn't a catalyst. My parents let me make decisions at a young age, and I really was responsible for those decisions. And, you know, it's not like you said we didn't have a truckload of money or anything like that. But can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think it's an interesting, you know, progression for you versus a lot of people who have been successful at sales or building a sales organization or training. A lot of people, you know, have gone through some trauma like I did, and you know, try to use our lessons from there. But you have kind of a different path. I'd love to hear a little bit about that. I want people to hear this because I think it's an interesting story.
Yeah. So, you know, and it was, my parents really empowered me to make decisions early on. Like, so a classic when I started high school, you know, I mean, I was like 15 or something. I don't remember, but my parents took me aside, set me aside and wanted to talk to me about the fact that I'd be starting high school and that I might be offered drugs or alcohol or want to have sex. And they said, first of all, if you want a drink, we'll make you anything you want and you can try it here. You want drugs, we'll get it for you and you can try it here so you know that you're safe. And if you want sex, to have sex, we'll get you contraceptives. Wow. You know, so, and it was like, and here I'm going like, I just stopped playing with dolls a few years ago. And I'm like going like, whoa. But it was, and then they told me why they didn't think I should do those things. But, and then they finished up with, the decision is yours. And we will always love you no matter what decisions you make. And we'll be here to support you and help you. And so, first of all, in high school, never had a drink, never had a drink in college, never did drugs ever in my whole life. I didn't have sex in college or high school. I mean, it was sort of like, why? There are other ways to have fun. I mean, I would have more fun having a pillow fight, right? And so that conversation with my parents did give me that power to choose. And everyone has the power to choose. It's just that sometimes the choice may not seem obvious, but it is there.
I agree. How's that impacted how you coach people?
Well, it has impacted me in one way because I am a naturally cheerful person, as you can see.
Always.
However, I can because I have had experience with other people and some of the things that they've gone through, and I have been touched by tragedy myself and hard times.
Right.
So I absolutely can do my best to empathize and sometimes, and do what I go back to is that ability to reframe and put myself in the other person's shoes and sort of really visualize that and walk that so that I can better understand where they're at and what their perspective looks like. Because everyone's paradigm is different, but if you can help them pivot it just slightly so that they can see around the corner, it's amazing.
Makes a big
what
difference.
You can accomplish.
Absolutely. Awesome. What's the scope of your organization now, and what are you helping people with these days?
Well, we primarily help B2B manufacturers, specifically building out their sales strategy. And so we help them really sort the chaos from having all the salespeople doing their own thing, like little mini entrepreneurs, and really tie it back to the company mission and vision. And then putting in place a system so that the salespeople actually, each one of them gains over 200 hours a year in time that they can put back into direct client interaction. But it makes it really cohesive, and it makes it the salespeople thrive. The entire organization does better. They're able to help their community because they can hire more people They can help more of their clients. So it just, in my small way, I help the world.
Awesome. I love that. So maybe it's obvious because you're a woman, maybe not, but why did you end up deciding that you were going to work with women mostly?
Well, and I don't specifically work with women. Honestly,
Okay.
I don't care if you got tats and purple hair. It just doesn't matter.
Okay.
I work with a lot of men, but one of the things that I found is that women can often approach sales from a negative perspective. So from two different angles. One, they're taught to be quiet, polite, and sit in the back seat when they're younger. It's a very common social norm, certainly here in the US. And the second thing is they can also perceive sales as really sleazy, that used car salesperson. In fact, Vroom has this great commercial out right now where the woman has to get the male mannequin to get any attention in a car dealership, right? And what's funny about that is the thing is about sales is that can be one perspective, but there's another side to that. And that's where you're truly helping and serving other people.
Right.
And because they need your product or service, and it's going to help their business. It's going to help their team. It's going to help their operations, whatever it happens to be. Maybe it's going to help them personally reconnect with their family. Whatever that is that you're doing, and that's delivering that value, you have to perform sales and to move forward. And every business, and we've just gone through this horrible, and we're still in this horrible time with COVID. How many businesses, when their sales dried up, that couldn't survive?
Right. So today we're talking about referrals, right? I mean, you probably know the statistic. It's 5 times more expensive to generate a new client than it is to get a repeat customer referral. So clearly it makes sense. From my understanding, from my experience in the real estate industry, about 80% of the people who bought or sold a house with a real estate agent would give a referral if asked, but I think it's less than 12% of real estate agents actually ask for a referral, which is unfortunate. A lot of people don't ask for referrals, and usually it's a them problem more than anything, right? And so, it's funny, I talk to people all the time who are in sales. I'd rather talk to somebody I didn't know and ask for business than to talk to somebody I do know and ask for a referral, right? It's just weird. It's just strange, limiting belief that people have. But I'm intrigued on, your process, and also, your thought process around it. So have at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's just first start with that attitude, because there are a couple of different things. Some people, it's literally like an area of fear, like they're afraid to ask for the referral. And some of them can get really down deep, like they don't feel like they deserve it. So there's some imposter syndrome there. Some people are just sort of uncomfortable because it's not something they've learned or practiced and honed, so that it's just natural. Some people just don't think about it. In my corporate sales, when I was closing multi-million deals and being flown all over the world, I did not ask for referrals because I just didn't think about it. I was given referrals by my clients, but I didn't ask for them. So one of the key things, this is like this huge hidden profit and sales cycle shortener in your business, that you want to tap into. And that first thing is there's a couple key things is you need to earn the right. So we call that sort of ear. So you got to earn the right to ask for a referral. And that involves giving your client a delightful experience and journey through their process of working with you. Second, you have to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. All right. And third, of the ears, you want to reward the people who provide you with those referrals. And now the rewards don't have to be some giant financial cost. It just has to be of value to them, how you reward them. And so one of the key things too is to incorporate that into your sales process so that you start asking about referrals early on. And so as an example, I've actually got one here. I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to look at it. I have it written out. So like right after you've met someone and you're starting to work with them, it is so wonderful working with you. So many of my clients are referrals, and I don't usually get this kind of rapport with someone I've just met. So what you've done is you've laid the seed for a referral, and you start incorporating this at every stage in the conversation so that the time when you ask for the referral, and by the way, statistically, asking for the referral 48 hours after the decision is made is like the optimum time. You know, they're still on the high of deciding to have worked with you.
Okay.
And so, but you've been laying the seeds. So it's the most natural thing in the world for you to ask for that referral. And it's the most natural thing in the world for them to know that it's coming and to be prepared and to say, you know what, I'm going to, or they may say, yeah, I've been thinking about it already. I know exactly who. I want to introduce you to Wally. And in that moment, it's like, okay, why don't we, since we're talking right now, let's say you're talking on the actual phone. Let's say, how about you network Wally in right now? Just, you know, add the call and you can personally introduce me.
Love it.
You know, or if they're not, you know, into that and you're maybe on a virtual meeting, how about you drop Wally's information right here into the chat? And here is the link I'm going to send to you. And this is going to open up an email window for you, and it's going to pre-populate the email. So then you can customize it, and then you can send it to Wally and CC me. So you've done all the heavy lifting. You want to make it as easy as possible for your client to provide you with that referral. And you don't ask just once. The statistics around that is people who are referred to you, they become referrers more. They're 4 times more likely to become referral resources as well.
No
and the lifetime value of that client just goes way up.
Sure.
Because and once someone has referred, they're more likely to refer again. So within your nurturing process, once you have a client, you want to incorporate the same type of process to ask for referrals. You know, not every day.
All right,
you've got to be mindful of the cadence, be providing value. But this is a way that you can expand your business, and referrals are much more likely to purchase from you because you've got built-in trust and credibility. And you've already come a long ways down that initial rapport building,
right?
Because you've already built, you know, at least the trust factor and a little bit of the no and a little bit of the like, because it's sort of adopted from the person who referred you. And so it's really an amazing way to speed up your sales cycle and build profit, because referred sales are much higher profit.
Makes sense. You know, a couple things. Number one, you know, it's interesting. I'd been taught when I first started my real estate business. It was the person who trained me, my mentor. He said that himself. He said, listen, you need to ask for referrals at the point where people are happiest with you, which is when they hire you, which you just kind of reinforced for me. I think a lot of people think they have to have like some sort of proof in the pudding, right? Actually have to. And so quite honestly, that, you know, and that's quite where people are happy, just because at that point, after they've made the decision, lots of things can happen along the way. That could not even be your fault. That could kind of make the sale a little murky, which is interesting. So that's how it can impact it. The other thing is, I think a lot of people don't think about the lifetime value of a client, you know, and, you know, if you're depending on what business you're in, you could easily think about, you know, how many people, just not just referrals, but also repeat business. You know what I'm saying? If I look at a real estate agent, you know what I'm saying? I mean, somebody buys a house every 5 to 7 years, you know, I mean, so depending on how old they are, you know, you could get, you know, 5 sales out of them. Not just that, but if you can get them refer just one person a year to you, I mean, that's insane. So are there specific industries you work in more prevalently than others?
Yeah, absolutely. B2B manufacturing, that are relationship first, you know, they're selling human to human. That's really, that's an area that I've worked in for the bulk of my career, and I'm really familiar with it. And that's one of that piece that I loathe chaos, and I see that all the time, and I can help them. And because they're already manufacturing normally a product, they understand that they can't have chaos on their manufacturing floor, you know, or in those processes. So it's just extending that to the sales process.
What kind of referrals do you get usually?
Well, the same. I get warm referrals from people that I've worked with in the past, and they, you know, I have to admit that I pretty much close all of those.
Yeah, I would think so. If the referrals, I would hope so. No, I hope so. You would need to rethink what you're doing if you don't have a good close rate on referrals, right?
Yeah, well, not, just everyone, even if they're a referral, people are at different stages. And I've had a referrals where they decide to go in a different direction, after they first meet me. But they come back in 6, 9, a year, come back and they're going like, well, that didn't, we took the right and we realized we should have taken the left.
Right. Well, and it's not like you just do one sales pitch and stop talking to them. You build a relationship yourself.
Yeah. No, I mean, you always want to keep nurturing the relationship.
Because otherwise they're not going to circle back. So cool. Awesome. Look, you brought us a little gift today, a little early Christmas gift for our folks here. Tell folks a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's going to take you to a page with sales tips. There's a whole bunch of content on there. And then also down below, you can also get to some of our other free content. We have a free masterclass. And this is going to help you, depending on where you're at in your sales, or maybe one of your stumbling blocks or something that you recognize that you could do a little bit of work on. There's a lot of different pieces on that page so that you can tap into to move yourself forward.
Awesome. What are you doing to help people prepare for next year for business? What's any strategy, any thought process you're working on for next year?
One of the things I am doing for myself is I've got a bunch of summits lined up where I'm doing very specific training for on the summits. And I really look for those opportunities where I'm not just a talking head, but I can provide real value that people can walk away and implement it literally that afternoon. And so that's going to be exciting. And of course, we're expanding, our program for our $1 million sales strategy program. And that's where we guarantee $1 million in additional sales, new and additional sales in 18 months.
What's somebody's requirement to enter into that program?
You do have to apply for the program. And the number one thing is that you approach sales with the same philosophy, that you are there to serve and help your customers. And you want to make sure that you have an impact for them. Okay.
Any industries, specific industries? I mean, two things. What industries, and then tell them how they can find out about that program.
Yeah, absolutely. So, once again, I primarily focus on manufacturing, but you don't need to be. I've worked with a lot of service providers. Anything that's really compliance heavy, like financial planners or insurance, things legal. I don't speak that language. And so you need to work with somebody who has niched and specializes in that area.
Gotcha.
So my niche specialty is B2B. Gotcha. So that you're working with another B2B, you're selling your product. So this could still mean that you manufacture cereal,
right?
But you have to sell your cereal to all the big stores and get shelf space. Gotcha. You're still selling human to human, right? B2B.
Right.
At the end, a consumer buys your product, right? Always. But because sometimes people think, oh, well, wait, I make a product that the consumers buy, but you're actually not selling it directly to the consumer. You're selling it to someone else.
So they can make available. Makes sense. Yeah. So you got Petite2Queen sales tips. How can they find out about and register and see if they qualify for that program?
Yeah. So if you go onto the website, there's really everywhere you go, you can book a strategy session with me, book a call, just click the link. It'll take you to Calendly. It's super simple. You choose the date and time that works for you. You book a call. You're going to get automated reminders and show up. And I want to hear about what's going on in your world. And even in that moment, I am going to try to help you to the best of my ability so that you walk away with something tangible that you can put into action that afternoon.
No cost for that consultation, right?
There is not.
Just lots of brain picking. All right, cool. What's going on for Christmas for you? What do you have coming down the pike next week?
Well, I'm working right up to the end. I'll be going to see my mother, and my daughter is flying in Friday. Nice. And so I'm really grateful and to see her. And she was able to get her booster shot well in advance so that she's all ready to get on a plane.
That's amazing.
So,
very good. Yeah, mama. Woo. Cool. Awesome. Anything else you want to share with us today?
Wally, I just want to tell you how grateful I am for the opportunity to be here on the show, how much I admire and respect the work that you do.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited that we've been able to make this connection.
Likewise, you inspired me after we spoke last time, and I'm so grateful that you're willing to make the time to come talk to us. I think the world needs good female leaders, good female salespeople, and I think you're a great example of that. So it's been a great pleasure to have you on the show today. Let's stay in touch with each other. Hope you have a Merry Christmas and a great New Year, folks. That's my good friend Lynne Whitbeck. I'm Wally Bressler. This has been On the Phone. Hey there, this is Wally Bressler, and on behalf of my guest today, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this episode of On the Phone. If you'd like more information on how to overcome sales call reluctance, procrastination, and self-sabotage, and become an expert on the phone, go to www.phonesalessecrets.com. And if you'd like my free course on how to overcome sales call reluctance, please go to www.phone